I don't do evil, I don't do any bad things. Why should I need to learn the Dharma? That's what many people will say that.
Yes, even one of my close relatives also said this to me. Said, long as I don't do any evil, why should I do good? But if we understand the Dhamma, that our life is supported, every day of our life depends on our karma. And if we understand that, then we will realize that we have good and we have bad karma. And actually, when we are born as a human being, we are actually very lucky, very fortunate. Because human being is just below the heavenly realm and above the woeful planes. So we are in a much better condition than ghosts and animals and hell realm beings. So we are in a way like a low heavenly being, So because of that, every day that we live a happy life, we are actually using up our bank account of blessings. Our merit bank is slowly being depleted, Every day we are taking out the merit money, So the merit is getting less and less. So if we don't supplement it by doing good deeds now, the merit can wear off, Just now I told you the story about the rich man in Savatthi, the richest man. So after 7 lives as the richest man in Savatthi, all the 7 lives he was still very stingy, still very selfish, So after 7 lifetimes, when he died, the last lifetime he died, then the king went to collect all his property because he had no heir, no son. The king collected all his property. After that, the king went to see the Buddha. Then the Buddha asked him, Raja, how come today you are so busy? What have you been doing? Then the Raja told the Buddha, said, today I've been collecting all these riches of this man and brought them all to my palace. Then he said, this man, terrible, nobody suspected he was so rich. He had so much property in his house, in the old days, there was no bank, you can't keep your property in the bank. So, your gold, your silver, all your property, they'll go and hide in the house, hide here and hide there everywhere. So the king, after he died, went to search the house, collected and found so much money, The king was so surprised, So when he told the Buddha, then the Buddha told the story how this man became to be so wealthy, how in the past, he in the past life asked the wife to donate to a Pachika Buddha. That's why for 7 lifetimes he was born as the richest man in Savatthi. But the Buddha said, because he didn't do any good, now he's finished all his blessings, he's going down to hell to suffer for a long time. That's the reason why we need to do good, because we are using up our store of blessings. And our store of blessings might be very little, each person is different. You can see there are some people, their luck is not so great, when they do their business, small business, it flourishes, flourishes, and then they become over ambitious. Then they make their business very big. When their business becomes big, everything collapses. Because they don't have enough blessings to support. So we must know how much blessings we have. We must estimate. So it's to be on the safe side. The more charity and keeping the Sila you do, the better for you. Don't assume that you have a lot. If a person is born in the ghost realm and we transfer the merit to him, how is it that that person can receive it? Now, this being in the ghost realm, they can receive to a certain extent, not like for example, you cannot think of transferring the merit to that person in the ghost realm so that person can get out of the ghost realm. That is probably not possible. But food and clothing Just as you see a dog, suffering on the roadside, hungry. Can you give food to the dog? You can, isn't it? You can't say, oh, this dog is meant to suffer. Why should I give food to the dog? Out of compassion, you can give food to the dog. You can help the dog to a certain extent. Even if the dog has got a bad wound on the back, full of maggots, maybe you can even take care of that wound, you see. So we can help to a certain extent. But we cannot say, for example, want the dog to be reborn in heaven or something. That we cannot. So only to a certain limited extent we can help. One thing we must understand that this world and all worlds is in consciousness. Yes or not? Right? Everything is in consciousness. So everything is mind-made. Right? So when a person, for example, makes this offering of food for his relative who has passed away, and he burns the food, so he is actually offering this food to that ghost. So that ghost is expecting to receive it. So he, in his mind, the mind is so powerful. A person under hypnosis, he can be told by a doctor, now put out your hand. I have a hot piece of iron here. I'm going to touch your hand with this hot piece of iron. And then the doctor just take the finger and touch the hand like that. What happens? That person actually gets a burn, on his hand. Because that person believes there is a hot iron touching his hand, and the hand gets burned. You see how powerful the mind? So if you believe to a certain extent, it's true for you. Nowadays they say virtual reality. Actually everything is virtual reality. Our mind is conditioned by our karma that we believe now we are in the human world. It's like a dream. But I feel like this birth in the ghost realm is like a sentence, or in the animal realm. And if a person has a prison sentence, has a fixed term, after this fixed term only you can come out. So the same, if a person goes into the woeful realm, animal or ghost or hell realm, he must be there to suffer for a fixed time. After that, the person can come out. And actually our human lifespan is very, very important. Why? Because in the human realm, we use our mind a lot, We use our mind so much that sometimes people, time to sleep, also they cannot sleep, cannot turn off the thinking. So whenever we use our mind and we think and we will to do something, we are creating karma. So humans, we create a lot of karma compared to other realms, Even heavenly realms, they just enjoy. They don't do so much karma. They have no opportunity to do dana, and they don't think so much of keeping Sila and all. They just enjoy. And then in the woeful planes, they just suffer. They have no opportunity also of doing good. They don't even think of doing good because they suffer so much. They're only thinking of the next meal. Yes or not? So in the human realm, we are different. We create so much karma that whatever we do now determines the next few lifetimes, Next few lifetimes. So we have to be very, very careful here. A bit careless only, you fall down. More careful, you can go up. Actually, it's just a matter of words, whether it's transfer or share merit. Either transfer to ghosts and also transfer to devas, or you share with devas and also share with ghosts. It's either word you want to use, no difference. You feed the live prawns to big fish. I suppose it is, but not very big karma. Just like killing mosquitoes, small.
You mentioned feeding animals. There's a form of feeding using live fish.
So you have good and bad karma there. You see, for example, when we were young, our parents used to slaughter the chicken for us to eat. Actually, they want to feed us, what? That's enough. By doing bad action. So good and bad karma. Sometimes some of these actions, sometimes you know it's not so good, but cannot be helped. For example, say like there's this Aedes mosquito around, and people getting this what's the sickness? The Aedes mosquito, dengue fever. So you see a pool of water with mosquito larva, then you go and put oil to kill the mosquito larva, but your intention is good, right? So karma depends on intention. So if your intention is to, for example, to protect human beings at the expense of this mosquito larva, then I think your good karma is more than your bad karma. So it depends. You see, just now I mentioned about karma, that if we do good, we should encourage others to do good. We should approve of doing good. We should praise doing good. So similarly, if you do wrong, and you encourage others to do wrong, then you also get that evil karma. So like a person who rears animals to sell for the meat, for example, some people rear chicken or rear ducks or goat or water buffalo, and fish, and to sell for the meat, that is wrong livelihood. There are 5 types of wrong livelihood for lay persons that the Buddha said lay persons should not indulge in. One is rearing animals for slaughter. Another one is selling liquor or intoxicants. Another one is selling weapons. Another one is selling drugs that kill, for example, insecticide. You sell insecticide, you encourage people to kill a lot of these insects. Then the last one, buying and selling human beings. In those days, they had slavery. And nowadays also, they also have illegally. So these are wrong livelihood. Actually, this insecticide, nowadays in the West, of course we are behind time, we are always behind time in Asia. But now in the West, they find that this insecticide is causing more harm than good, because some of these insecticide, they stay in the ground, and for a long time, That's why some of the early insecticides we use, for example, DDT, I think, now banned totally. So now in the West, they are turning to other things. Like for example, using the neem tree? Neem tree, the juice or the oil of I think the juice of the neem tree, and you can, they spray, because the neem tree is, the leaves are very bitter. So when they spray it, these insects also tak boleh tahan, so bitter, they run off, they don't come and eat. Like for us here, if we do small planting in your garden, you can do what our sister Lailing did, was go and pound the chili and the garlic and soak in water and spray. We know all this killing of animals. As a Buddhist, we should not encourage other people to do this kind of job, this kind of profession, for example, slaughtering of cows or pigs and all that, or chicken, because in the end they will have to suffer for it. But some of these things we know that you can't stop people from doing. There will always be people who do this kind of thing. So, what is important is that we don't encourage people to do. But when people do, it's their business. Just thinking alone, without intention, does not create karma. You must have intention, because in the sutta, the Buddha said, intention is karma. Intention is karma. There are some, you see, like most people, we have sensual desire, we have anger and all that. So when we have thoughts, sensual thoughts, or we have angry thoughts, but we don't sort of work it out, we don't put it into action, then it's just a habit. It's just a habit. It's not really karma. But only when you really intend to carry it out, then only it's karma. Actually, you see but in Mahayana Buddhism is different. Mahayana Buddhism is like the Christian viewpoint, When you think only, you already done it. For example, if you have lustful thoughts, in Christianity, it's already a sin, as though you have done it. But in the Buddha's teaching, he has explained it more detailed. This is not found in the suttas, but found in the monks' Vinaya, monastic discipline, where, for example, the Buddha said, it is in the monks' precepts, there are 4 precepts which are the heaviest. And if a monk breaks any one of these 4 precepts, he's automatically no more a monk. First one is engaging in sexual intercourse. Second one is stealing, or stealing something that is really valuable. Third one is killing a human being, or encouraging the killing of a human being. The fourth one, if he does not have a supernormal attainment, he lies that he is an Arya, or he has attained a meditative state, psychic powers and all that. So you see, like in the stealing precept, if a monk steals something that is worth, say approximately $20, $20, about 80 ringgit or more. If a monk steals a thing worth 80 ringgit or more, then he has broken that offense, he has committed that offense, broken the precept. Now, in defining how a monk breaks the precept, the Buddha said, if this thing of value, for example, and a monk wants to come and steal this thing, he has to do a few actions before the theft is finally completed. For example, this expensive clock is lying in somebody's room, okay? So this monk wants to steal the clock. So firstly, he plans how is he going to steal. So he wants to go inside the room when nobody is around. So suppose he completes the theft by, firstly he goes into the room, will be around, and then he lifts up the object with the intention of stealing it. Then the Buddha said in the Vinaya, the moment the object is lifted up from its place, the theft is completed. The theft is completed. Now, if that monk, he were to come into that room quietly, open the door, get inside the room, then he has the intention of stealing this clock. He touches the clock, but he hears footsteps coming. So when he hears footsteps coming, immediately he let go of that clock, and then quickly run out of the room. So he has not completed the theft. He has come up to the last stage, he did not complete. And then that offense is considered a very serious minor offense. The most serious of the minor offenses. But if he had walked into the room with the intention of stealing, but he did not touch the clock yet, but he had this intention. Before touching the clock, he heard footsteps. Then he walked out of the room, ran away. That is another minor precept, which is lighter than the previous one. So the Buddha graded the breaking of the precepts into different levels. depending on how many actions you did. So the Buddha had the wisdom to analyze it like that. So just thinking about it without doing anything, he have not done anything wrong yet. Yeah.
Since our human mind is always thinking a lot of things, sometimes it's something that wasting a lot of mental energy. But if we discipline ourselves, we keep on thinking good things and wish people good, with good intention, even though we didn't say that, is it a good way to promote good karma also? Because sometimes we see, like for example, bad things happen around the world, we can't do anything about it. Maybe we make it some charity, but do good thoughts and with good intention really have any effect?
Oh yes. Good thoughts and good intentions are encouraged by the Buddha. In the Noble Eightfold Path, there is one factor called right effort. This right effort consists of 4 things. The first one, if unwholesome thought or evil thought or unwholesome state of mind has arisen. Firstly, I define what is wholesome and what is unwholesome. Unwholesome is like thoughts of greed, hatred, jealousy, arrogance, selfishness. This is unwholesome states of mind. Restlessness, sloth and torpor, doubt. And then wholesome states of mind are letting go, non-greed, no anger, calm state, peaceful state, happy state, humility, meekness. These are wholesome states. Okay. Now, in the sixth factor of the Noble Eightfold Path, the Buddha said that right effort means firstly 4 things. If unwholesome states have arisen, then you should immediately try to get rid of the unwholesome states. And then if unwholesome states, number 2, if unwholesome states have not arisen, you don't allow them to arise. Okay? Then the third one, if wholesome states have not arisen, then you encourage wholesome states to arise, like good thoughts, peaceful thoughts, thoughts of wishing well all beings and all that. There is metta, loving kindness, equanimous and mind and all that. And then the fourth one, if wholesome thoughts have already arisen, then you try to maintain it. Don't let it stop. Maintain the wholesome thoughts. So this is the factor called right effort.
But if you return it the next day, the Sila doesn't karma. He didn't actually want it.
He didn't want it. It's different.
He steal it. Give him millions for one night. Next night, he felt something wrong. Replace that. He didn't take his ticket away. Does it karma?
Oh yes.
Or does it?
Yes. Just now I explained in the Vinaya, the Buddha said once the thing is removed, it's already constituted the offense already. Then later, out of remorse, that person puts back, he's making right the thing, but the offense already done. Offense already done. It's just like you slap somebody in anger, after that he says sorry. Damage already done, right? Easy to say sorry.
Okay. Can we consider investment in shares as livelihood?
Let's put it this way, it doesn't harm people, right? It doesn't harm people. So you have to be careful, you don't harm yourself only.
One day, the Theravada believed that when a person passes away, he is immediately reborn. But in the Mahayana, it's a bit different. Reborn later, after 45 days or what. So actually, what did the Vikaya say about this?
Actually, whether a person is reborn immediately or later is not mentioned by the Buddha. But in a few suttas, when somebody passed away, then they came to ask the Buddha. But it was not mentioned after how long. They asked the Buddha, what happened to this person so and so who just passed away. Then the Buddha would say, oh, this person is born in such and such a place, such and such a place. So it appears like a person can be reborn straight away. But whether this is the general case all the time or not, we don't know. But sometimes there are some strange things also. For example, there was one man, one external sect ascetic who was practicing not in accordance with the Dhamma, being an external sect ascetic. But one of the Buddha's disciples had great respect for this external sect ascetic because he was practicing this ascetic practice. I think was behaving like a dog. He walked like a dog. Then when people give him food, he wants people to throw it on the ground. Then he will eat from the ground. He won't accept it like a normal human being. So for years he was practicing like that, behaving like a dog, eating like a dog, sleeping like a dog, and all these things. And then one of the Buddha's disciples, he was a bit foolish. Instead of respecting the Buddha, he had more respect for this external ascetic. So the Buddha wanted to, in a way, teach him a lesson. The Buddha said, after this person, after a certain number of days, he said, this person will die. And then when this person has died, they will throw his body in such and such a place. 3 days after he has died, you go to his corpse. You go and knock on his corpse and ask him where he is reborn. And he will tell you that he is reborn in a certain woeful plane of existence. So this stupid disciple, instead of believing the Buddha, he went to warn this external sect ascetic. He said the Buddha said, after a certain number of days he will die. So you better be very careful, Don't be careless, so you don't die after so many days. So this external sect ascetic fellow, he tried to be very careful. Still on that day he died. Then 3 days after he died, then the disciple, the Buddha's disciple, he followed the Buddha's instructions, went to look for the corpse. So after the 3 days after the external sect ascetic had died, so this disciple of the Buddha went to that corpse, then knocked 3 times on his body and called his name and asked him where he was reborn. Then this corpse sat up, and then told this disciple that he was born in such and such a woeful plane, and then boom, he went back. So it's a bit strange, but it's one of the funny cases.